Welcome, I'm Melissa O'Connor. I'm a Florida-based elder law attorney who does estate planning focused on long-term care, commonly referred to as Medicaid planning, and I do probate, and I do it well. Today, I wanted to talk about whether you should spend down or should you shelter when we are talking about long-term care Medicaid planning. But before I do, I wanted to invite you to schedule a free strategy session with me at eldermeeting.com. So many times I have consults with families and we talk about what a shelter plan would look like, so that way either they or their loved ones would be able to qualify for Medicaid long-term care benefits. Then we go through all the options, because every option, particularly when we are crisis planning, and that's generally what these conversations are, meaning we want benefits as soon as possible. We are not planning in advance. We would like to have these benefits yesterday, if possible, right? And so we go through all of the various options that are available to us. Every option has a downside. I advise all my clients there's no magic bullet where you will have a perfect result of no tax, no negative. Every option has some sort of drawback. Now, the question is that drawback worth it? The benefits that you're going to obtain worth the drawback? And so that is a personal question for your family, your needs, the individual. I cannot tell you whether or not that makes fiscal sense to you or whether that drawback is worth it. Because you could go through, in theory, all of this planning. We do all this planning. There might be some tax implications, so we have to pay a small tax. Sometimes it might be a middle-sized tax, and nobody likes paying taxes, so it's an uncomfortable thing to have to do that. And we do all that, we get the benefits in place, and maybe they live 6 months. So we're like, oh, I only got 6 months of benefits, and that had a price value of, we'll just say $30,000. And then I took $20,000 in some sort of other negatives, whether it's fees or taxes or something else. Was it worth it? Because it was also the hassle of filling out all the application and my time. Some people would say, yeah, $10,000 is $10,000, completely worth it. Other people would say, not worth it. A lot of headache and hard work just for small return. So those are personal questions. And then what if, right? We don't even know, because maybe they would have lived longer than 6 months. Maybe they would have lived 3, 5, 6 years. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's in store for us. That's why as part of my consults, I generally ask questions like, what's the longevity in your family? What's your family history? Do people in your family live long? Do the men die early? What's early? Do the women live really long? What's really long? Is really long 85? Is really long 95? Is really long everybody's made it to their 100th birthday? And those are questions. What are the doctors saying about your health? How is it just your mind that's gone, or is it also your organs that are failing and having problems? Because sometimes you can lose your cognitive functioning, but your body's fine. Like all the organs are strong, your blood work is good, you're otherwise healthy, you're just not oriented. And those people can live a very, very long time. And they're very expensive to care for, because it's like caring for a very grown-up toddler or child, where you have to have all the same protective measures, but they're grown. So the answer is always up to you. So whether or not you engage in a shelter plan and you move your money and you put them in specialized trusts, or you put them in through a personal service contract, or you buy some income generating property as shelter tools, whether you do those things and obtain benefits, or if you just simply cash pay and spend down your money until you get to a closer point where we are now, meeting the actual poverty guidelines, because the money in our bank is not there, and we're gonna end up on benefits just by having spent our money, and not have sheltered it. The goal of sheltering is not so much that we're trying to avoid having to pay for anything. That's not really the point of sheltering. The point of sheltering is to extend our money and make it last longer. So you're supplementing your care costs with a government-based insurance that all of us taxpayers have paid into. Like, we all contributed taxes because we know we will be old one day. Also, we know that we have elderly loved ones that we would like as a community to support. So that's the purposes of our taxes. That's why we have these programs. And so what we do is we are extending our monies by making it last longer. So you have your government benefits that come in, and now you have your monies that are sheltered, and the monies that are sheltered are able to use for extras, things that the government program doesn't cover. New house slippers, clothing, because as you age, you might start to soil your clothing more frequently than you did when you were younger. And so now you have these needs. Of course, you want your haircuts and you want your nail trimmings, and it would be nice to have a meal out on occasion. You still would like to engage in maybe a trip here or there to still visit the grandchildren. So to be able to afford those things, that's where the monies that you have sheltered are set aside, and they're now available for use for those types of things, those extras that aren't covered by government-based long-term care insurance. That's the point, is to stretch the money so that way you're not leaning on your relatives, your adult children, or your brothers or sisters or your cousins to help you with those other extras in life. Like, you're depending on everybody to bring you new clothing every 6 months or so because we've just soiled everything. Things of that nature. So that's the point of sheltering, to make our money extend and last, particularly if we have some sort of sickness where we think this is going to be a long haul, like we have that long life expectancy. So that's why we shelter. Now, whether it's appropriate for your family to shelter or to not shelter, it's a personal question, and that's up to you. My role as an elder law attorney is to just guide families through their options so that way they know what tools are available to them, that they understand the positives and the negatives of each tool that they could possibly use, and then they need to make those decisions for themselves as to whether or not it's something that they want to pursue. There's no judgment. Everybody makes their own decision based on their own fiscal footing and their own understanding of their family dynamics. So hopefully this information has been helpful. If it has, I ask that you like and share with others. And as always, thank you for joining me.